Alright, you lot? How's it going? Look at all this mess. Look at all this bloody mess. I'll tell you what's happened. Do you want to know what's happened here? I'll tell you what's happened. I took this apart and fully intended on getting the bits that I needed there and then. That's not even a part of that. That's a button for an engine. That can go over there for now. But I never did. I'll tell you what I might do. I can't remember where any of these bloody screws go now. It's just going to be by trial and error putting them back in. Putting them back in. But I think I might use the washers after all, because I did put washers on it, then decided against it and thought, no, let's do it properly. Let's get a proper, get an actual new box for it, and just have everything brand new. But that's not happened, is it? So I think I might go for the washers, and just put washers on the original screws, and that way the heads won't go through. It's a common problem, but from what I've had a look and found out, it's a common problem. It always happens with these particular diffs. So, but I've got to buy some drive shafts anyway. So it's one of them things, but it's just, I said I weren't going to have loads of bits and bobs taken apart and left on the bench again, because it's always a pain in the arse. You know what it's like? You take stuff apart, leave it on the bench, and then you can't use the bench. And it's like, bloody Jesus, man, what are you doing? So I've got this tank as well that I've randomly just found. I don't really know what that's all about. I think I'll put that there. And yes, I won't be doing that today, but bloody hell, man. I'll just put washers on here and that'll be that sorted. Yeah, a lot of you were saying about you'd try and straighten that out. I don't really think that that's a good idea, to be honest. Reason being I don't think it's a good idea is because I like the wound. I like the war wound as such. Do you know what I mean? It's like I like, I screw that back on there like that, and I'll go somewhere and they'll go, the shock's bent, and I'll go, I know. Simple. It's that, isn't it? It's done. I know. Sorted. Nah, it'll be alright. I'm only joking. I'm joking. By the way, I'm joking. But nah, I'm not going to bother. I'm not going to bother doing that. I'm going to find a screw and just screw it back onto where it lives, and that'll be happy days. There's no reason to try and fanny around with it, take it off and bend it back. Oh man, do I really want to do that? No, I don't, do I? And I like the damage on the top of the head there. I like things that they've had a good time. Do you know what I mean? They look run down. Hence the name of the channel, Haggard RC. You know what I mean? Haggard. Look up the definition of haggard in the dictionary. It means something that's run down, dilapidated, seen its day. That is me, and that's also the definition of 99% of the things you'll see on this channel. Things that are run down, had their day. And yeah, man, that is this Savage, and it's the way I like it. I like things that are shiny and pristine, looking spick and span, but then I do also like certain things look really good when they're dirty and broken. Quick little look through my little drawer of screws and nuts and bolts, and I've found one that fits. Screwed it on. Let's put the little drawer back so that I don't knock that off the bench and have screws flying everywhere. And let's see. Oh, look at that. Perfect. Absolutely nothing wrong with that whatsoever. It does get a bit stuck, but it'll come back up again when you do a jump or something. But all the oil is probably going to leak out of it now, but that'll be alright. Look at that, nothing wrong with that whatsoever. And we're back up and running. Love it. I don't think there's anything else missing. Probably could do a few of the other little screws up and bits and bobs, but we'll be well away, ready for the next one during the week. I did notice that the battery, the receiver battery, I charged it up, didn't I? But I did notice that it started to get really weak just before I noticed that had broken and it ran out of fuel. It wouldn't actually steer anywhere whatsoever, so we're gonna have to charge that up again. I think the batteries had it lasted about, what did it last, about an hour, and that was dead. So 1.6, yep, there you go, that's that charging now. So we'll let that charge up, and then that'll be ready. Probably take that out at some point during the week, give that another blast around. I do love a Savage. Everyone loves a Savage. You know, if I could find a newer Savage as well at a reasonable price, I think I'll get a newer one to have a little go of. But they pretty much, they stayed the same design. Nothing really changed ever, really, did it? I mean, they still use the same chassis. They still use the same 2 suspension. I know they have big ball ones on the newer ones, or different coloured springs and things, but they pretty much, everything was kept the same. The servo setup was kept the same, the braking, you know, the tank, everything was pretty much kept the same, wasn't it? So, but I would like go of a newer one if I can find one, and yeah, that'll be good. I had quite a lot of people say, well, I say quite a lot, probably 4, they want to see this old Mended fired up. I haven't looked after it particularly well. I used to have some, what do you call it? Is it Welsh car? I think it's Welsh car, Wise car, whatever. Ones, you know, and I have got somewhere a load of bits and bobs. I've got a little train steam traction engine somewhere. But this one, it was in really good condition when I got hold of it. But then it fell down the back of the bench one day and never come out. And then when it did come out, it looked like this. So, obviously it's been burned and stuff, but it did work. The little pipes tend to get furred up and sooted up and corroded with limescale and stuff. You're not supposed to put water out the tap in them. You're supposed to put distilled water in them, but I don't. I put water out the tap in them. Naughty, naughty, I know. But yeah, so I think I might fire this up at some point. I'll have to get a pair of pliers, undo that, make sure that, oh, that's loose. I'll put a little bit of WD-40 around that, try and get that going. The whistles always get corroded. The whistles, they very rarely work, but I used to have loads of these, man. I used to sit there and fire them all up in the garden and have them all chugging away, have the steam puffing out. I used to like putting a load on them with that and making them go when they're proper under a load. They sound the nuts. But this is the only one I've got left now. Sold them all. As with me, when I go through phases, I get a load of stuff, put everything into one thing, and then end up needing money, so I have to sell it all. But a lot of the stuff I had was really good quality, good expensive stuff. But this is the last one I've got, so I might see if I can find some meths. Find a little, I think I've got a bottle of methylated spirits somewhere. Go and see if I can find myself a bit of sawdust. I haven't got any of the little tablets anymore. I used them all up, so I just put sawdust in there, methylated spirits. Or I might put a bit of petrol in there. I've got some petrol, or I could put nitro in there actually. Put that in there like that. Let that heat up the old boiler, and then we'll be well away. I think the whistle's got bent. There you go. Love it, man. Yeah, I did have a lot of good response from that when I said I'd fire that up, so that'll be coming at some point in the future. Well, that didn't take long to charge. I was literally on charge for about 4 minutes. So either the battery wasn't flat, I could have tested it actually, or the servos started to go, but it wouldn't actually steer towards the end. But I don't know. I'll work it out at some point. I dare say I can find a servo somewhere, and we'll change the servo over and have a new servo in it. But these are the original servos, original HPI servos. Everything's more or less original, so nice. Ciao for now, you lot.